You know a tree by its fruit. That small line out of our Lord is such a profound source of wisdom. And I know for me has been a guiding light as I discern various contexts and relationships in which I freely choose to engage. For example, if he says he loves you, but he hits you, he doesn't love you. You know a tree by its fruit. And we are often sold in our life various narratives that people want us to subscribe to or believe, or perspectives they want us to adopt. And we have to make decisions based on those invitations. But really, they only have value insofar as they're followed up by concrete action. You know a tree by its fruit. And so for all of us, that one line is such a resource for discernment in life. And in the context in which we are receiving this word today changes the orientation of our considerations, not outward, but inward. Because in just a few days, it's going to be Ash Wednesday this week. And that, therefore, is the beginning of Lent. And so if we view this parable or this language instruction of our Lord in light of the context in which we are in, then the invitation is to go inward and recognize that there are many times Jesus uses the image of a tree to refer to his own disciples in the expectation by God of all of the disciples that they bear the fruit for which God had planted them. So this week I found myself sitting in the chapel in front of the Blessed Sacrament in conversation with our Lord saying, Jesus, diagnose me. What do you see when you look at me? And there was a lot of good there. There was a lot of things that I could see in light of our Lord shining that were developed virtues and cultivated fidelity to the gospel that at one time in my life was not there. And so there was a lot of cause for gratitude in those periods of prayer. But at the same time, there was a recognition that not all is as it should be. There are certain aspects to my life that are thwarting God's plans for me, even if it's a game of the subtleties. And so I found myself asking the Lord, what are those things that are undermining my relationship with you? Whether they're habits, whether they're beliefs, whether they're vices, attachments, anything, Lord, whatever it may be, show me. And the fruit of that conversation with our Lord was this wide spread of information that then became the content by which I could say to him, Lord, what does a fruitful Lent for me based on all of this look like? What spiritual exercises, if I adopted them this Lent, would respond to what you have shown me today? So that at the end of it, truly there is potential for nothing to be between you and me. And that I may bear the fruit in every aspect of my life for which you have intended me. But that consideration requires a few thoughts. It's not just simply like, Lord, what are all my problems? It's not that. It's recognizing that human life and discipleship is messy and that mess fluctuates between different things, and seizing upon this moment and this opportunity to say, where am I today? So for example, in the first reading, it talked about how the sieve, when shaken, reveals all of the husks. That's a language of a stressful environment, which brings then to the surface that which is of no value, needs to be gotten rid of, and that which is precious. And so, so Father Loomis is what version under stress? Is he the Christ that he's called to be? Or is he the seven-headed Leviathan that my staff probably thinks I am? Or maybe it's not as obvious as a negative, like I have this horrible attachment. Maybe it's something as quiet as how I use my time that might not be immoral. But then it raises the question, Lord, if I, instead of watching 4 episodes of Law and Order, did something else with my time that was ordered towards my relationship with you, Lord, what would that look like? How could that time be spent so that my roots may be set deeper into our relationship and I may drink more richly of the font of grace and feast more sumptuously on the banquet that you are laying before me, that when I'm watching TV, I'm just missing. And so the invitation we have today is for this consideration, to not use the wisdom of our Lord in this moment to look outward for decisions about our relationships with the world, but rather to look inward at our relationship with Christ. And then from that conversation, to discern what a custom-tailored Lent would look like for each of us, so that our spiritual exercises are not arbitrary for the sake of honoring the season, but profoundly meaningful and life-changing, so that we can sing the song of St. Paul by the time that Easter comes, which we heard in the second reading. O death, where is your victory? Death, where is your sting?